We're going to talk energies, mostly Pluto retrograde today, and we're going to do Archangel Michael's Sword of Light Oracle cards today. Just give me a minute while I'm getting this video set up and shared out. If you're just finding me, go ahead and say hi. Take a second to connect with the energies, drop a comment, especially if you're trying to get cards and things like that. That'll help you get more cards and things like that. So take a second to say hi, connect with the energies. Also make sure you're hitting the share button. And we have a Mercury opposition. We just call this a Mercury-Pluto gateway or porthole today. And I want to talk about that because I feel this is very, very important for all of us and the collective behind the scenes. So Pluto retrograde was always there, but it's coming up again. Okay, so make sure you guys are sharing this out so that we can get started. Make sure you're also hitting the share button. So with this opposition, it's very, very shadow work, shadow work, shadow work. However, I feel this is a transit or something very much affecting the collective, and today it's kind of coming back up, but it's like the elephant in the room. None of us talk about it, but it's there in the background, the planet, right? It's like, okay, but yeah, we have that elephant in the room. Well, that's how Pluto retrograde is right now. It's in the background. It's going to be there until October, but it's coming back up. But this is very, very big on bringing up individual shadow work, but also the collective shadows. You guys seeing them real loud yet, right? But it's also the dismantling on a collective level too. So it's kind of subtly there in the matrix in the background. And there's like a lot kind of, I could say falling in when we say dismantling. It's the breaking down of what is no longer serving us, old, old energies, old ways of doing things. So it's the individual shadows, but it's also the collective shadows kind of coming up. And that's part of awakening, seeing more of how things really are or how they exist or what's really there. And then for some, this just depends on how this translates into your individual life. This is like the shadow work and the clearing of old karmic cycles, patterns, and all of the ascension work that is coming up. Doesn't surprise me because this week we're going to have a very busy week energetically, and this should be a good thing. So you can tap into those higher energies and, get things done, whatever that looks like in your life. So this week between the 2nd and the 7th, we actually have the Sirius gateway, and, we're doing 4th of July here in America. That's actually what we're doing, like the Sirius gateway. You notice that lands on the 4th, right? But this is part of, it's going to kick off the 7th, and it's going to peak for the 7-7 porthole. And I think this influx of energies is very important. And today we're clearing out your karmic closet or the shadows to prepare, because sometimes you really need to do that clearing work to be able to integrate and hold the activations and upgrades that are coming in too. And so this is very, very important. We know that sometimes we'll say karmic stuff can keep us stuck in the 3D or in the old, or, bring a cycle in or whatever it is. And that when we clear this stuff, this is how we truly ascend and can ascend into our 5D version of self. I've been posting a lot all day about this, so I'm not going to go too into it. You guys can read more on my page if you take a scroll down or whatever. We're going to get started doing some cards anyway, but don't be surprised if you may have, it could be old stuff coming up that you need to deal with, or you thought you dealt with stuff and it's coming up again during this time. And so when we deal with Pluto, it's actually the unseen. It's, things we're not aware of. It's what we repress. It's what we need to see, right? It's what we need to heal on some level. And sometimes that has to get loud for us to notice certain things, unfortunately. And so this could also be integrating previous lessons and kind of dismantling things that you're holding on to, whether this is like masks and, ways that you're in the old persona or the 3D self still, or beliefs and blocks and things we really need to release during this time. And so sometimes when we deal with that, it's not meant to be a darker energy, but it can be when we're going into shadow work. It's everything we need to clear to return to more light, or to hold more light too. So don't be surprised if you have things coming up, and sometimes shadow work is like unresolved, and it just kind of depends in what way. But like I said, we're going to get started doing some cards. I want to do sort of light oracle cards, make sure you guys are checking out my website, sparksofdivinelighealing.com. I have a lot of really amazing things on there. I am an energy healer. I have lots of healing sessions, clearings, and activations on my website to help you with your awakening and healing journey. It just kind of depends on what you need on there. So make sure you guys are taking a flip through. If you need me, go ahead and book me on there. I am a psychic medium, and I do psychic reading calls, and I also teach classes like Reiki and Sikhem on there. So I have all sorts of amazing things for you. Make sure you guys are checking it out. Okay, we're gonna do Archangel Michael cards. I've been talking about like cutting cords and clearing attachments. That's what this energy is bringing, right? Clearing cords, attachments, and all the usual things to take care of your energy. These themes are coming up today, so I've chosen these cards. I thought they'd be very fitting for today. So make sure you guys have shared this out. And if you're trying to get a card, make sure that you have left a comment. Let's see. Julie Weeb, good morning. Be a light to others. You have a powerful message to share. Shine your light on the world so others can learn from you. And this is where it's going. This is also a really amazing way, once you've reached those final stages of healing, that you're able to have the tools to heal other people, right? That you've healed yourself and you've moved through certain initiations. I was saying in a previous video that I'll upload later that oftentimes we're going through Pluto energy initiations, and you'll say, what? Every lesson you've ever had has been attached to everything you're doing on Earth. What do you think we do here? And so we're going through certain initiations, and in order to become a healer, you must heal yourself first. There's no way around that. Everyone wants to. And sometimes when we heal ourselves, this is where we really activate powerful gifts. And so this is kind of a channeling message and working with spirit. Like, you know, you'll get the messages, you'll know what to say, you'll know what to do, and you learn so much. I've learned so much from the sessions that I channel, the work that I do. It's taught me a ton as well too. So this is a card connected with channeling, whether this is inspirational messages and guidance or just light in general, right? This is what people need, especially when they're doing that shadow work and facing these darker aspects of self. They need light, right? And stuff like that. So this is like becoming the light for other people in whatever form, using your gifts to help those around you and to be of service. And this is very, very rewarding. And, you know, you might feel, for those of you guys that this is your destiny or your destined path moving forward, you're going to feel such a strong pull to whatever you're being guided to do to help the planet or help other people. It's going to surpass any feeling that you've ever had. Is what gets me to these videos every day. Well, not every day, but almost every day. It's a pull. You're going to feel a very strong energy pull, perhaps to be helping in some type of way, or sharing your gifts, or doing some type of mission, purpose, project, whatever it is. So being guided to be of service in some way. Sometimes this could be simple, of like, you know, helping guide those around you once you're at that level and can. I see Gail Gregg, and then I forgot to say it, but if you guys are able to send stars, sign up to be a supporter, or PayPal donations, please do. It helps keep this page going. So if you guys are sending stars, you're going to get I'm going to try to give you a psychic shout out. Gail, trust the guidance that you're receiving. Archangel Uriel has blessed you with a brilliant epiphany. I'm also present to clear away your worries so you can trust your divine guidance. And I always think you should let your thoughts guide you, but for some people this could be problematic until you've done enough inner work to clear away the negative thoughts, beliefs, fears, worries, doubt that can come up, or ego level stuff that we go through many layers of the healing. And so, you know, sometimes we can actually block, not trying to, obviously no one wants to, but unconsciously block our own spiritual guidance that we're getting by not listening and second guessing it. And I always say, if you're sitting around thinking about something, that's what you're tuning into. That's what you're tapping into. And like, sometimes stuff can really serve a purpose in our life, but as our frequency is changing, it's meant to, as we're elevating, you know, you could be in, just an example, a connection, a friendship, a job, a situation. And this is what we see with the awakening. And it was really good for you for a while and really serving you. But as your frequency change, you no longer resonate with it. And the more that you try to force and hold things that you've outgrown, it becomes, you know, an issue. You're going to feel it. It's no longer pleasant. It's probably problematic. And so this is also about guidance of what to be doing. You're getting the guidance, but sometimes we love to talk ourselves out of it and question it. We're not sure, but also pay attention to your mind. We're in this Mercury energy. I saw we just were too, but we're back in the Mercury energy. Doesn't surprise me, right? So while we're in this energy, it's the mental realms. Pay attention to your thoughts because they're guiding you. We could say that goes for everything. Maybe you're thinking about things are amazing. This is the blissful side, and you're feeling very positive about something in your life, and you're tapping into it in a really positive way. Same goes for the negative thoughts. Now, I do believe in healing some of these things, but if you're constantly, stressed and worried about something, obviously it's probably a problem, and to pay attention to that too, as your mind is the biggest receiver. Now, we talked about ego loves to block it out, but it's also a spiritual receiver. It picks up on energies, messages, things on the telepathy level, tuning into things, and we filter it through the mind, oftentimes our own energies, what's going on within ourselves, but also our environment too. Really trust some type of guidance that you're getting. This, obviously, I bring this down to your everyday life and what to do and how to navigate things and what you should be doing, and just kind of going through it. So really pay attention to the spiritual guidance that you're getting, and I mean from within. The more that you heal and release fear, and I was doing a whole video on this because it's one of the things that's coming up. We're clearing major karmic imprints, worry, and fear within these energies, because of course they exist a lot of the times within the mental level, and they're big blocks, because if you're always worried about something, you're creating it. You're creating every second of every relationship you've had, every situation in your life, everything, and based on your thoughts and what's going on. So if you're sitting there worried about something, you could manifest that. Everything manifests. So we want to clear the negativity, especially on the mental level, especially as our mind is powerful. You're literally putting those thoughts from your conscious mind, this is what you're conscious of, into the unconscious, the subconscious. And so when we're dealing with Pluto, it's the unconscious, subconscious realms. And, our subconscious projects our reality, and you're walking it, you're living it. So it's very important. This is why I'm doing personally a lot of healing, affirmation work, changing my thoughts, shifting my thoughts. I have books on here, which are someone told me they bought my stack of books yesterday, and I'm like, oh God, okay. I'm going to put the next one up, I swear. They're going somewhere with it, though. That was the deepest work that I did, a lot of it, and putting that out there, and okay. And I put a lot of stuff out there anyway. It's not all pleasant when we're dealing with the planet, the shift into 5D, your lessons in this lifetime, karmically, and everything like that. But I do have those books on there where I went back into when I first woke up to write it down, because I know a lot of people are just waking up or haven't even woken up yet. They're going to need that. They're going to need to learn this stuff. So I did go back, and one of the most powerful realizations that I had unknowingly created everything miserable in my life. Great, thanks. Right? Oh my God, okay, no more complaining and blaming. Unintentionally through my thoughts had created all of this mess, and it is a mess until you wake up. Trust me, you're living unconsciously, and it's like a spider web. You kind of wrap yourself up in it. I describe it as, and once you wake up, you do that work to kind of untangle and heal yourself karmically from this mess that you've created unknowingly, and then you have to reprogram yourself, because we can blame where we got that programming from, society, childhood, the family, on and on. We love to pinpoint where we got it from and stuff like that, but it's up to us to change and to change our programming and our thoughts. Our thoughts are creating our reality. Our inner world is always there in your mind, and your outer world is a reflection of your inner thoughts. You think it, people do that, and I'm doing this deep healing work. You think someone's going to do something to you. They probably most certainly will, but you're actually controlling it all from your mind. And so this is why when we have reoccurring negative thoughts, beliefs, I see a lot of people think it's scientific. I'm scrolling my Insta earlier, and they're like, this causes this. And I'm like, actually, it's the belief. Right? So we've been programmed up with a lot of negative beliefs, whether from your own personal experiences, trauma, childhood wounds, society collectively. And it's up to us to reprogram our thoughts, because our beliefs are creating our reality. So if you're constantly thinking something negative about whatever, it's always happening. So when we can go in and we can shift that belief and become more positive in that way, more positive results in your actual life that you're living. And so there's no bypassing the work that needs to be done. It is always the inner work, because everything going on outside of yourself is a reflection of it. So, and there's all kind of stuff coming up too. So also being mindful of clearing out thought forms, fears, negative beliefs, and ego beliefs and things like that is a very big part of doing the work to get better or different results to the lives that we're living or want to be living. Let's see, Lorraine. Open your heart. No one is perfect. Stop judging yourself and others and let love heal this situation. So I love this because the ego is critical. It literally, I picture like, I am getting the messages like a boxer, right? That's your ego. Like literally, like it's like I guess like that, you know, kind of analogy with it too. And so it's literally like at every turn you didn't do this right until you heal. It can be very critical, judgmental. You know, your boss kind of gives you, we're going to always bring that boss up, gives you a hard time at work. Like, you know, you could be doing this better, and says something, and you can get very critical of yourself and beat yourself up all day. All it takes is an off day, a spin, something to come up. And this is the ego that we must face. And I love it when people get their ego triggered. This is where the nasty side comes out. I call it an ego. Like, you're fine. It was always underneath though. So sometimes people in life, you actually have karmic contracts in your life, hopefully in the past, that you have been through with people that are supposed to intentionally trigger certain things in you so that you can heal certain things and see things about yourself. And then when we're dealing with Pluto, it's the repressed. It's everything we put on other people in some way, and we don't want to take ownership of. So the ego is like your shadow when it comes up. If I tick you, I was going to piss you off, tick you off enough, right? Like, yeah, and this is where the ego comes up. And this is why it's very, very hard on the path to enlightenment, because we love to point the finger and get rid of people and things like that too. You guys will be doing that with the people that are here to help you the most, because sometimes when people are triggering you, it really has nothing to do with them. It's your own triggers and wounds that need to be dealt with. But we're talking about ego triggering and things like that. And sometimes it can come through on the mental level the most, the ego. I don't want to say it lives in your head, but I like to think of it like that, right? And so it's like everything telling you, you know, you got a great opportunity, but you got to take a risk. And that's that voice in your head telling you this isn't going to work. It's going to go terrible. You got a new relationship. It seems to be going great, but that ego voice in your head is going to tell you how you're going to get hurt and to get out of it and sabotage it. And until you heal it, your ego most likely maybe sabotaging things unbeknownst to you. So we have to reprogram and heal that aspect of ourselves. It's just like there's the inner child, there's the ego, there's a higher self. We have to better connect with and heal some of these aspects. And the problem is when you were asleep, you weren't paying attention to anything going on in your head. I assure you, it's a little like sleepwalking. You're on this unconscious state. We can talk brain waves and things like this. You weren't much paying attention. You were probably just thinking all this stuff and creating your reality from the asleep out of alignment. So as we awaken, you're going to become hopefully a little bit more mindful of that voice in your head so that you can, like, say, get it in check, right? And heal that component, because until you heal the ego in your mind, it's going to keep sabotaging you and messing things up just with your thoughts and not realizing that. So part of the doing the work of awakening is to shift out of that ego state. Ego is very simple. It's very focused on the material attachments and everything not great for you. And the soul is literally giving you all of your lessons in a different kind of spiritual way. And so it's about kind of, we'll say, no longer going into those ego patterns, attachments, and things like that too. And so this is a card calling for compassion and self-love and to be more understanding. And it's like, if you were a child, because I've done a lot of work with kids too, if you were a child, you would not talk to yourself the way you talk to yourself at times that you have, right? You would be like, it's okay. The kid spills the glass of water or whatever. They're kind of all over the place, if you know. And you'd be like, it's okay. And you'd probably clean it up and you'd be okay. But you spill that glass of water and Jesus, right? Very self-critical and you've ruined everything or whatever. And so also sometimes with these components, ego and inner child, we're needing to learn how to reparent our own inner child and to reprogram our ego so that we can be more supportive of ourselves. So instead of being someone in very unhealed ego state, probably it might be a little bit difficult for people to deal with, obviously, but within yourself, because you got to sit with yourself. That's what it is for everyone, right? Within yourself, very unhealed ego, you're going to be tearing yourself down all the time. You're not going to be supporting yourself. And I feel that our relationships are a reflection of that. So if you're hard on yourself in one area, your partner most likely will be too, on the same wounds. They tend to mirror unconsciously somehow some of our own things that we need to work through, or baggage and stuff like that. So the more that we can heal and radiate that frequency of, you know, healed and self-love, the better we're going to have better connections that aren't mirroring our wounds back to us, or our thoughts that aren't great as well too. So we're needing to heal. And so sometimes just learning how to reprogram and to support yourself. Are you being supportive of yourself and your dreams or your goals? Or are you sitting there telling you this is impossible and you can't do anything at every turn? Because if you are, it's going to be very difficult. You're going to have to walk that path anyways. And if you're constantly, tearing yourself down, being self-critical, that's our factory default setting, I hate to say, until we've healed. And so, enlightenment teaches us also how to heal certain things that we may or may not have even noticed. And it just kind of depends. So just being more supportive and loving to yourself will help you. We're going to do Eva. Deeper insights are at hand. Your overall plan is good, but the details need work. Reflect before moving forward. So when I do a call with you guys, I get you on a good timeline or a plan, literally, and I help you guys obviously with that, so so when you go off, you're like, okay, this is the plan. You need a plan. You need to anchor into these higher timelines. And so this is important too. And if we don't have a plan, we're allowing the unconscious to just kind of flop us around like a fish. So it's important that we're also getting clear with our goals, our intentions, our plan, where we want to be, where we're headed. Because if we're literally, I just call it like spiritual GPS, you don't know where you're going and you're just driving life, right? You're just like a car driving out. We don't know. I'm just driving, right? How are you ever going to get there? It's like you got to set your destination through your intentions and doing the spiritual work to anchor these timelines. We anchor the timelines. You figure out you want to do something or make a shift, or you want to end up here, and you're anchoring the timeline so that you can get there. And I think this is very important work that we're learning how to do in the spiritual. So you might be needing to be a little bit more intentional about where you're going or what you want to be doing. And I love this message because it's deeper insights. There are reveals happening where you're being made aware. And sometimes this is it's not like a sugarcoat, motherly energy. Sometimes I see a lot of people this year, 2025, having a rough karmic awakening. like all the people is like, or whatever, it's just like a lot of stuff coming to the surface to be dealt with. But on a positive side, you're being made aware, whether this is like things you're needing to work through, patterns, what's coming up for you, maybe needing to make some shifts in your life, how to get into a deeper alignment. And so you guys are being made aware slowly, a reveal of the unconscious. This could be your own, like we say, shadow isn't the monster in the room with you, like a little 5-year-old with a monster in the room, like we think. It's not at all that. It's what you can't see and what you're not aware of within yourself that needs to be integrated. And despite what we've been programmed to do here on earth, work, and die, and build in the material and figure out how much we can get, your soul has a completely different agenda for you, and it is actually wholeness and to integrate through your relationships, connections, and experiences. It is here to make you aware and to integrate what needs to come online and to kind of, we'll say, bring that into your awareness. It's here to awaken you and to show you things about yourself or whatever it is. And sometimes that's pleasant, sometimes it's not that pleasant if we didn't notice by some of our life experiences. It's trying to get our attention. And so it's all about healing, becoming whole, integrating aspects that are fragmented or we're not very good at. So something might be coming up currently for you that you're needing to look at or being made aware of. This might be a situation not serving you, something you've outgrown, some way that you're clinging to the old. I see a lot of people with that too, because there's a lot happening on the collective level too, where a lot of people are kind of hanging on to the old or whatever it is, something that might be coming up that you might be noticing for the first time, or this could be like being uncomfortable in a situation kind of energy. We talked about you could be great in a situation for a really long time and it's just, not serving you anymore, especially as we're going through such a huge transformation of self from the 3D to the 5D. And I was explaining oftentimes it'll alter the very fabric of who you are. It's about who you're becoming, but how you're living your life and what your life looks like too. So don't be surprised if things are coming to the surface, a reveal. This could be through psychic downloads, dreams, just noticing stuff. You're waking up and you're seeing more. I see that about the collective too. I'm not going to go into that talk, but this is a big collective transit that we're going through too. Okay, so let's do Sorry, the comments are lagging. Lena, don't settle for less. You're a child of the divine and you deserve to have your dreams come true. Don't give up. That was like my message earlier. I did a video put up later. Some of you guys are like kind of, on that nudge. And yes, I believe in ego and surrender, but also to follow these manifestations through. And I know myself and a lot of people have all of these little puzzle pieces that have yet to come together of manifestations that you're working on until that manifestation actually shows up at your front door. You're still working on it. And a lot of people are needing to work through a process, especially bigger manifestations or things that might take more time or energy or whatever it is. Like they say, you have all the ingredients to the cake. You got the eggs and the flour and everything laying around. That's the pieces. And you haven't fully brought it together to bake the cake, but you got everything you need, literally these little pieces. And I mean today, currently kind of going on, and to continue to work through your manifestations and just depending on what that is. So just a little bit of reassurance to keep going. Paul Ryan, your loved ones are safe. Let go of your fear and worry for your loved ones. I'm looking after them. So this is my favorite spirit message. I do a lot of spirit. I'm a psychic medium, so I do a lot of spirit work and teaching people about the other side. Surprised people don't want to learn more about that since we're all headed there. And Earth is a temporary journey. And I was going to say, we go there naked, like we come to Earth with nothing naked. You're going there like that, right? We can go ahead and decorate and do all this stuff, but it's actually what Earth is all about, right? The spiritual initiations and tests to get somewhere else. And so jokes aside, right? We all go to what I call the other side or the other realm, which is actually another dimension right here. And as we're going through the awakening, this has usually played a role. So if you've lost someone that you love on the other side, they're trying to get your attention. Some people are very, very open and can handle that psychically. Some people not so much. They're like literally standing beside you, dancing around, like in the astral form, trying to get your attention, knocking stuff over, like whatever it is. And it's hard to reach you, we'll say. It just depends on where people are at with that too. But your loved ones are always around you and they're always guiding you. Chances are, oftentimes if we're talking family, this is part of your soul group, I say, and that they wait for you. You're part of a group of souls that travels together, by the way. And like the ones that you had the hardest connections with, sometimes family, you're working out the most karma with right off the bat. These are the closest souls to you oftentimes too, but it just kind of depends. Loved one in spirit, trying to give you a message and get your attention. David Curtin. Yes, you are correct. You've listened to your inner guidance and made a wise choice. Keep moving forward. And that's the thing too. We need to kind of focus on moving forward. So what happens when I'm driving and I'm always looking in my rear mirror? You could crash your car because you're looking behind you. Like you need to look in front of you, right? Pay attention to where you're going, not where you've been, as they say. That's behind you, literally. You've already cleared it. And so sometimes the problem is we've had a lot of trauma, and that we can go back to old things, which can create fear and blocks in our system, because if we hadn't been through the trauma, we wouldn't be afraid trauma can happen again, right? And but we need to pay attention more to where we're headed on the collective level, like, right? And where we're going and things like that. And a lot of people feel lost during this time. I'm going to go ahead and make my jokes because, the people in the 3D, they have no idea where they're going if they can't perceive the 5D, the leaders, like right where they're leading everyone into the 3D more, right, and stuff like that. But we have this 5D opening up to us like never before within the awakening. So we need to focus more on the 5D level of where this journey is taking you. And there are so many good things ahead of you. We don't always think of that. And just to stay focused on that, there's so many manifestations, good things, good experiences that are going to very much outweigh whatever anyone has been through, you though, in your past. Like good things are coming, okay? Like there are good things coming and stuff like that too. So just stay focused on your path moving forward and where you want it to take you. Now this is a confirmation. If you've been sitting around thinking about if something is for you or you don't know or where you're at, it's just confirmation that your guidance is correct. You know that. You're going to best navigate your experience. And I hate to say this, but I'm going to be the one to say it on video, that a lot of times people's connections, not you, but in general, have not worked out because maybe, I hate to say it, some people didn't have your best intention or highest intention in mind. And these are lessons we've had to learn, and that your intuition is your spirit guide, your angels, and the beings that are here to help you. They love you. They're always going to steer you on course. And so if it comes to someone else's guidance, but their guidance is what's kind of getting you through. So I was talking earlier in a video, the more that we can tune into our intuition, we're going to have our own best interest at mind more. And I think this is very, very important for navigating the connections around us, the people around us, our situations, and where your path is going to take you. And, this is very, very important too. So just continue to listen to your intuition. It's always guiding you through everything. And some people will be like, I think I'm a little lost. No, that's the path, whatever it is. And just continue to allow your intuition to guide you. This is just confirmation and a positive message about the benefits of listening to your intuition. That was something I always say I learned way earlier on, like listen to a friend over here and dark side jammed me up, right? And I was like, oh my God, I should have listened to that voice in my head or that feeling to not listen. And then, that was lessons that we've all had to learn, not listening to our intuition where it got us. And as we're beginning to listen to our intuition, we're able to better spiritually navigate the experience, getting a lot better results. So it doesn't matter what it is. This helps us through our tests. We're getting tested, but if you do a good job on these tests, you're leveling up spiritually and not getting the lesson. You continue to stay stuck in a cycle. And I'll say this, I always talk about, I get real honest, I felt I was stuck in a cycle. I didn't see it, of course, because this is the unconscious that we don't notice, but I had the same lessons, I'd say, for a decade. Like the same, because until you break out of a pattern, heal something, let go of something, you might stay stuck in a cycle. And when you do level up, you're going to level up out of it to the next level. So we can stay in a level for a minute or decades or whatever. It's up to us to learn certain lessons and to break out of certain habits, attachments, and patterns that keep us stuck in these karmic cycles. So I don't think I was able to fully move forward into the awakening until that point too. And so when we're listening to our guidance and doing the inner work, we can break out of, cycles and lessons so that we're not repeating them over and over and over too. And I see that a lot with the work, like when people are drawing familiar patterns. We love familiar, it feels like home, but it's toxic, right? And if we're going through the same cycles, different people, same cycles, same lessons, or things within ourselves, nothing to do with other people, and we're not progressing, it's something we need to break out of, like a karmic pattern or cycle. And until we heal the pattern within ourselves, we're just going to attract different people. And I see that because I see high level of avoidance where people are not healing. Someone left me like a troll comment in my group, like, I'm not healing. I'm like, sorry. I know, like, it's okay, I am, but I know, and that's cool. You do you over there, but I'm just saying that's why there's the divide between the 3 and the 5D, between the people that are and the old and the lower, right? We'll call it the higher. And so it really helps you personally to level up to a higher level as you are healing and get better results and things like that too. So we're having to heal a pattern within ourselves. And I see a lot of, especially toxic people, go from, I'm saying this about dating, partner to partner to partner. They'll be the one to break up and the next day they have a new person, or maybe even while they're in the relationship, right? Like, and they aren't healing their patterns and they're going to a new partner and they bring the same patterns with them. So if you think you're going to get different results, the same thing keeps happening until we can go within and heal these toxic patterns within ourselves. We tend to attract the same toxic partners, the same things out of those things, and we get the same results. But we were doing that for so long, unconscious, unaware, and asleep, and not realizing that our own patterns were, we'll say, attracting certain things, situations, people, whatever it is. And I think that's very important to wake up and realize the karmic loops that we're coming out of some of these things so that we can get rid of them. I want to purge them out. I want to go higher. I want to ascend, right? I want off this planet. I don't want to keep coming here and doing the same stuff. And so that's how we break out of whether certain patterns and go higher and do better or level up our life too. And so it all kind of comes down to what we're working on and what we're healing. And I get a lot of people might not be aware of that. We call that the unconscious. I'd say asleep now, but we just say unconscious and things like that too. But that's why we do see a little bit of a divide where those of you guys that are doing the work probably don't want to date people that aren't. You probably don't want to hang out too much with people that aren't because, you know, the energy component will say. You won't know why. You'll just get really tired. You're like, you're getting really triggered. You're getting really tired, you know, as people are playing out their trauma on you, especially if you've healed a lot. Like a lot of people, I'm going to put this out here too, weren't liking my boundaries last month. And I don't want to engage with the unhealed patterns, and you're not going to hopefully act them out on me. That's up to me at this point if I want to engage in things like that too. But until we're aware of that, we tend to, you know, act out traumas, patterns, behaviors, and sometimes with other people. And so healing is how we get off that loop, called a cycle roller coaster loop, and begin to be more mindful of like, okay, this isn't healthy, this isn't good for me. I don't think so today. I'm gonna probably go, meditate and take a nap, I think, instead, or whatever, right? So just working on that. We're breaking out of the matrix, and we are gonna see, just as the inner reflects the outer, we're seeing a breaking down. I know everything's great, nothing fine in the matrix, but we are seeing, I think we can all see, the earth is changing fast, and there's a breaking down of power structures through this end of the year, 2025, as this Pluto retrograde. It kind of is encouraging us to go within and look at our own patterns, but we can see this, there's something happening collectively. I was saying it was the elephant in the room. No one talks about it. No one was talking about all the negative stuff. I can't even say it on video. All the stuff that we've been through collectively the past few years, nothing to see here. But I think you guys are noticing like weird stuff, right in the collective, weird stuff happening, and no one talks about it. It's just fine. Let's just go to work and ignore like everything falling in and crumbling, but whatever, right? But it's happening. A lot of people that are very awakened spiritually probably might be seeing things a little bit more. Not meant to be a negative thing. You're actually just, your third eye is open, and you're probably noticing things a little bit more. This is meant to be a good thing, but it can feel a little dreary as the world is shifting or going through a massive shift, and also an acceleration. Let's do Tristan. Angels of healing are with you. A time of healing is about to bless your life. Accept Archangel Raphael's emerald green light and enhance your strength. Okay, I'm going to say this too, because I'm just like, okay. So I see a lot of darkness rising up out of this. Well, shadows. We'll just call these the shadows. And like me scrolling my feed or whatever. And that's okay. People can do what they want to do. I really respect that about if you want to have an experience or a journey. Okay, I'm going to learn to detach. But I feel that we're here to raise up the light on planet Earth as well too. And I was saying this in the conversation, I think the best way we can do that is to bring in the angels, divine energies, beautiful things, not the negative. We all know that. Like not good. Okay. So, and I feel the best way we can do that is to bring the angels into our experience and bring down the spiritual. And we can do that in many different ways. I'm always doing a lot of like healing and meditation, working with the angels, prayer, things like this, turning it over to the angels. And you're going to have your moments where you probably, I think that's the point of Earth, that we need the divine. And that was how so many people woke up, as turning to the spiritual, whether you got down on your knees and prayed to God or found God, or you were going through the darkest time of your life, hopefully already, dark night of the soul energy. And I want to remind people that generally people go through some type of entire life falling in. We can call that Saturn return at a certain age, or dark night of the soul, or things not working, not being happy in your life or marriage or whatever it is. This is part of awakening to get into the light. It's the light at the end of the tunnel, right? We have this, and to come back to the light and to awaken. And there's so many people that are going through an awakening in one spot on planet Earth, and many more to awaken. Some of you guys through such a process, and you're meant to hold space for those around you, by the way, that have yet to go through this. And we call that a light worker, right? And that you're here to just work on yourself and master yourself, but you're holding this 5D frequency oftentimes too. And one of the best things that we can do is work with the angels and archangels. You have personal angels that are literally here wanting you to ask for more help. This could be manifesting miracles energy, working with source and the divine, bringing that energy and frequency down here to Earth. I think that's how we bring heaven to Earth. When I think of heaven and what we've been programmed to believe of heaven, right? It's some place in the clouds that my loved ones go to when they die, and I picture angels everywhere. That's where I'm getting at with this, right? The angels are everywhere playing their harps, and this is the heaven realm that we've been taught anyways, but I think it's a little different of dimensions I talk about, but this is what we've been taught to believe. So if we are to bring heaven here on Earth, I think we want to bring those angels back to Earth. And this is a lot of what light workers are doing during this time, is by channeling divine energies, and whether this is channeled inspiration, light, healing energies, higher frequencies, angels, ascended masters, archangels, divine beings, and things like this. of the spiritual and to bring that down into our reality. And it seems like a dark place until we do that. I was getting back to that dark night of the soul, because that's why it gets so dark around here. We need to bring the light in, right? And this could be as simply as, really connecting with source and bringing that spiritual energy down to earth. This could be literally, working with the angels and archangels and bringing that energy into your life. And it's always about your life and getting more spiritual. And that could look like different for different people of what you're doing and what you feel like doing. Because I very much respect that of being able to choose your beliefs and things like that, especially as we ascend more into the 5D. We're going to see a crumbling of control systems, which could look like, systems in place in Earth that are kind of pulling us back. And we're going to see a big transition, but being guided to work with the angels, and specifically Archangel Raphael, which is, of course, and I'm going to bring the card back, healing angel, and you should all recognize the medical symbol. I can't see it good, but it's the Kundalini medical symbol, right? A lot of symbolism, and that's why they use Archangel Raphael. You probably won't think that. It's like the EMS, EMT symbols and hospital symbols a lot of times. But working with Archangel Raphael is amazing. Archangel of the healers, too. And some of you guys might not realize that you're a healer, but sometimes if you are an empath, a light worker, energy sensitive, that's exactly what is going on with you. Just think you had a hard life and you took on a lot of karma and you don't know where it was coming from. Chances are you unconsciously might have taken that on for the people around you or your family line and had a harder path, but it's okay. It's what you're here to heal and clear, no matter what you've been through on your path too. So Archangel Raphael will really, really help you with your own healing journey and healing yourself. I have some nice Archangel classes on my site too, if you're trying to work more with them. Tina Simpson, you're ready for more. Your career is growing and blossoming. Now is the time to make the changes you've been contemplating. This is a work message. So this could be actual physical work, right? Work. Or spiritual work, my favorite too, right? That's just as much work, and I feel that it just kind of depends. This could be a project, a passion, a mission, a job, something in that area. It's something that could bring you income. This is huge too. And so sometimes people are creating that. Someone said something really nice to me. I think it was last month. They said, "Oh, that's really nice. You created that job for yourself." I said, "Yes, I actually did." Like, it's really great. Then someone I remember someone making fun of me before. I'm like, "You created a 9-to-5 or whatever they said. They were kind of making fun of me. But yes, it's something I was guided to do, obviously, to, make this a career. It's what I do. And it could be a project, it could be a mission, something you're passionate about, side gig, right? It could be a business idea. It could be a lot of people are just getting creative. Like I was saying, so many people are sitting on $1 million gifts and don't realize it. It could be, you just love to paint. It's e-shop, right? It could be you love to make something. You could make something. It could be crafting. And I've seen these people, like, they just think they have a crafting idea. I saw this woman, she was like literally gluing fake flowers to a board and had made a whole $1 million business. So shipping out this stuff, like your little creative project, something you love to do. And like, you could be sitting on some powerful gifts. It just depends on what that is. So if you have any like, oh, maybe I should do this, or I should write this, or create this, like, especially this is what the 5D is about, creator energy and getting creative in some type of way and channeling that energy. And you'll probably love what you're doing in some type of way. So this could be also, we're learning how to manifest in a different way in the 5D and maybe even make money in a different way. It depends on doing what, right? So pay attention if you get any creative ideas, inspiration, or even a nudge to, get a job, find a job, shift a job. And it could be in many different forms. And then also it could be about the spiritual work that you're doing too. Okay, I'm going on that note anyways. I'm here if you guys need me. I have lots of stuff up for the Sirius Gateway on my website too. Make sure you guys are checking it out. Have a beautiful day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.